Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break.
It's time to work on becoming an actor with David Sarcusa. David started his acting, screenwriting, and movie production career in 2021, producing his first full-length feature film, which he wrote, produced, and starred in The Uncivil War, America Divided, within a year of entering the business. And he's the host of Becoming an Actor on the WTAN Talk Radio Network. Now, here's your local, not yet famous, not quite Hollywood star, David Sarcusa.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Becoming an Actor on the WTAN Talk Radio Network on 1340 AM and 106.1 FM. I'm your host, David Sarcusa. How's everybody doing this evening? I'm going to talk to you all about becoming an actor. It's so much fun. It's funny. I was just coming back from set the other day, and I stopped into a 7-Eleven, and I was grabbing my big gulp, and the guy said, "Wow, you're dressed pretty nice today." And I said, "I just came from set." I have so much fun telling people that. It's such a neat thing to say.
But have people actually stopped you on the street and saying, "Oh, wow, you're David Sarcusa"? Has that happened yet?
Oh, yeah. Lots of people that I know have said that to me. Nobody I don't know, but people I know. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
No, nobody is going to recognize me yet.
That's the key word there, is yet.
That's the key word. So, and you know what? Honestly, even if you are in big movies, there's a lot of people that do not get recognized. You think that, once you're in a big movie or something, everyone's going to know this person. I've been with some big name Hollywood people who walk among the rest of us common people all the time. Nobody knows them. Now, as soon as you say, "Do you know who that is?" They were in oh my God, that's them.
Light bulb will go off,
and then they recognize them, right?
Yeah.
But yes, lots of people, you would be surprised. They're probably walking among you all the time, and you just never know it. So look around, pay attention. We're out there. When I say we, I mean, the famous, important people, not me. All right. And in fact, I'm even going to talk about that right now because I just got on Friday, I got a text message. "Hey, are you available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?" I said, "Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I'm retired. I got nothing to do." So I went out we're shooting at St. Pete Beach, a really cool mermaid movie. I think the name of it is going to be The Mermaid. Maybe. I don't even know. A lot of the times you get kind of placeholder names where they might just say it's The Mermaid, and then later they'll come up with the title. That happens all the time. And I can't say where we're shooting on St. Pete Beach because this goes with the theme of what we're talking about today, how to act on set. A big thing to do when you are acting on set is you don't give away important details like where you're at. You can say St. Pete Beach because St. Pete Beach is pretty big.
Same thing with Clearwater Beach, too.
Yeah. So you can give general stuff like that, but I would not say the name of the restaurant where we're shooting or the name of the bar or the car dealership or wherever you're shooting that particular movie. You wouldn't give that away because you don't want to give away spoilers. You don't want people showing up to say, "Oh, there's a big star on that one." And there is actually a big star on that one. We'll see if you know this name. Robert Patrick.
Yeah, of course, Terminator 2.
Terminator 2, T2. That's right. That's great, man. You're better than I am.
It was the T-1000 in Terminator 2. It's my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
T-1000. One of the other actors on set said, "I didn't know we were getting T-1000 today." I said, "What?"
I mean, he's done a couple of other movies to his credit, but that's the one most people know him for when you hear the name.
I was going to say, because I texted that to one of my friends, and he said, "Oh, he was great in," and I forget what else he mentioned, but I mean, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's been in X-Files, Sopranos, True Blood, Sons of Anarchy. The guy's been in a bunch of stuff. Now, what I found was very interesting was I was at the Countryside Chipotle, where I basically live and breathe. I'm there all the time. So if you want to meet a not very famous individual, that's usually where I'm at. And I mentioned Terminator 2, and the three people behind the counter all looked at me and said, "No." What? What do you mean no?
What do you mean no? Like you never heard the movie before?
I think one of them had heard of it.
But they've never seen it.
None of the three of them had seen it.
That was the first Arnold movie I ever saw. Terminator 2.
To me, that movie was like 10 years ago.
Yep.
Now, it was actually 30 years ago.
Yeah, it came out in 19... You're making me feel old. I was 5 when that came out.
When did it come out?
I want to say 1992.
Oh, so close, 1991.
I was off by a year.
Yeah, but... So that's funny.
I was 3 years old when that movie came out.
Yeah, so I think of it as still very relevant. But
Right.
of course, I told my son that I was on set with Robert Patrick, and I sent him a picture so he knew who he was. And he said, I don't get it. I don't speak boomer. Is that the police officer who fought Arnold or something? I've never seen it. And I wanted to cry a little bit. So
I want to cry.
yeah, I know. It's awful. But that is a great example of, because I hear all the time, oh, the big actors are not in Florida. Well, to me, he's huge. He's not a common household name.
Not like
I'm very impressed that you know his name. But I mean, he's a huge actor.
Yeah,
right? He's been in a lot of big stuff. So when people say there aren't big actors in Florida, I got a call on Friday, and thank you to Cameron Rumberlow for reaching out to me about that, because Cam, and now this also goes towards one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, because this was really cool. So I met Cam on a set maybe 8-10 months ago, and I can't even remember the name of it. It might have been Blood in the Water. It was a cool little movie that we shot over at John's Pass, and neat movie. But Cam picks me up in a little minivan, and he's shuttling me the 5 minutes over to the movie set. And I strike up a nice conversation with him. Nothing exciting. I didn't save his life in the war or anything. But my business partner, Cookie Reyes, had actually told me, hey, if you see Cam on set, he's a great guy. I said, oh, okay, yeah, great. And then it just so happens that he picks me up. So I had at least heard his name before, but we started talking, right? You never know who you are talking to on set. I could have gotten into the car and said, look, man, don't talk to me. What's your? I don't even care what your name is. Don't talk to me. You're just driving me to set. It turns out that Cam knows everybody in Florida, and he puts all sorts of people onto sets. So when this set came up and they were looking for a couple of people, I'm playing a businessman. It's just a little background role. It's nothing exciting, but it gets me on set, which is always a big thing that I talk about, is get on set. And this got me on set. And, Cam, we talked, chatted. I saw him later when we were on set. I had no idea that he was an important guy. He's a super important guy. Turns out that the driver on set is a guy that is really, really tied into the industry. So you can get on set and you can be a jerk to people and you can treat people rudely. There is a good chance that if you do that, they're going to be your boss on the next set. And that is not going to go well for you.
No, it's not.
It's really not. So Cam said I was on set with a good friend of mine. Zachary Vac was there, and Zach and I were talking, and a nice guy I just met yesterday and talked with him some more today, Jason Henne, and we're all hanging out, and Cam comes over and talks to us, and he says, oh, yeah, he said, they said we needed someone, so I picked up my phone, and, Zach and Dave, you guys were the first ones I thought of, so I just texted you guys, and then Jason, I thought of you next, and I grabbed your info. So apparently, we just weren't jerks. We were nice people on set. That is the same thing that Lexi Baca was saying the last week when she was in here. Be nice to people.
But that's not just a rule for acting. That's a rule in life.
That's a rule in life. Just be nice to people. But the good thing is, number one, it's more fun. Because now when I get on set, I see Cam there. I see Zach. I now see Jason, a guy I know well now. And it's fun. We hung out all day yesterday. This is also another thing to learn. So I immediately jumped into everything. First of all, I should stop and say, call in. The number is 727-441-3000. Call in, talk with me. I love talking with everyone, especially the local actors and crew in the area. Always love when I hear from someone I know. But what I'm talking about is how to act on set today. And that is just such a big key. Be nice to people. It makes it more fun anyway. Zach and Jason and Cam and I were just hanging out this morning. And yesterday when we were hanging out, we got there on set. And for whatever reason, I have no idea what was going on in the background. We never left holding, but we hung out. We're just shooting the whatever you can say on air. I can't say that word.
Shooting the stuff. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, there we go. Shooting the stuff. And we're talking. We're having a good time. I'm doing some stuff on my phone. I'm getting some business done while I'm sitting there. And the next thing you know, they come out and they say, okay, lunch. And then you guys are wrapped. Like we haven't done anything yet. Oh, that's all right. You're going to get paid and come back tomorrow and we'll shoot you tomorrow. So they never even got to us. That's awesome. I get to hang out with my buddies on set. We talked about some of the other films we've been on. Zach was in California with me on Cursed Water, so we talked about that for a bit. We just, and Cam and I and Zach talked about the other movies that we're on, and Jason, that, you find out that you've been on a lot of movies and you guys don't even realize that you've all been on the same movies. And it's a lot of fun. You make great connections and boom, there you go. You end up on set. So anyway, Robert Patrick, fantastic actor. This movie is going to be really nice. I end up on set just because I was nice to Cam. Cam was nice to me. We got along really well, and he thought of me later. That is the best way to grow in this business, is to be nice to people. It's a little bit of time in business, just like everything. 6 months ago, Cam might not have thought of me for something. Now he does. Thank you, Cam. You're an awesome guy, man. Really appreciate it. So Robert was up there, and this is interesting because last week 2 weeks ago, I was talking about how when you're on set, slow down. I know I talk very fast on this radio show, but when you're on set, slow down. Everything happens much faster on film than you realize. So even an expert, someone who's been doing it for 30 plus years, like Robert Patrick, he got up there and we're watching him today, and it's awesome to see a professional. I mean, he's so good. He's so smooth. He's doing different things each take. He's trying something different. The director's giving him that leeway because he knows he's a professional and he's going to hit a home run. So he allowed him to do a few different things. But one of the first times he was going into his routine, Robert starts, and the director hadn't even said action yet. And Robert's already going into his spiel. Slow down. Even a professional like Robert, he was so amped up. He's so into the character. And he got moving before the director even said action. And he kind of said his lines over his action. But again, because he's a professional, Robert did not say, I screwed that up. Hold on, cut. Let's do that again. No, he went through his spiel. Then he kind of stopped through that first sentence, gave it a break, and then he started again because he knows that it's going to roll. So he stepped on the director saying action. It happens to everyone, even an incredible professional. So he just stopped, waited a beat, and then he went right into his line and he started all over from the top again. And then down the road, he got one of the guy's names wrong that he was saying in his monologue. So he stopped, didn't cut, stopped, said the guy's name properly, and then went on with it. Because when you're working with a professional crew, the sound guy is going to be able to splice that together seamlessly. The cameraman's going to be able to do it. Yes, Matt.
I was going to say, we do that all the time with radio. If you're listening to a live radio show, you'll hear us fumble. And this is pulling back the curtain on what we do here at the station. If you hear a live show like this, obviously there's a chance you're going to hear us flub and make a mistake. But
well, not me.
Right. But you get what I'm just saying for like radio in general. But like if you hear us fumble and stumble during a show, it happens during live radio. If you hear a show that goes through perfectly without a mistake, that's because chances are it was pre-produced and somebody like me is editing it so that way You don't hear us go and stumble all the time. It just goes through seamlessly.
And it's really neat to actually watch someone edit that, the way they just effortlessly remove all of the and the uhs and the they get rid of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So easy. It's pretty amazing to watch someone that's really good on the computer at doing that stuff, because that's not my real thing. So.
And not only that, but they also know what to listen for too.
Yes, they know they can pick it up and knock it out very easily. So, okay. Also, as I say, so I was talking with Zach about how effortless it is for guys, a professional like a Robert Patrick or a Daniel Roebuck or Musetta Vander. They're so good with the lines. They learn their lines so effortlessly. And we were talking about how, Robert may have just gotten those lines yesterday and he's got them down for today. Or maybe he walked on to set today and they said, hey, Robert, we're going to throw this at you. Do this scene today. That's not something I'm great at. I like to ad lib. Even if I have 6 months to study the lines, sometimes I'm terrible about it. Well, Zach was talking about one of the actors that is in a lot of local films, actually. I've been in 2 or 3 with him, Jonathan Stoddard. And he was talking about how one time he said, he was talking to him on set. And he said, wow, he said, Jonathan, you're doing so many different things. When did you have time to learn these lines? And he said, on the flight over here. That is amazing to me. I'm actually taking a class with Lee Perkins tomorrow, actually Wednesday at 6:30, about how to learn your lines, because that is something that just, it kills me. I don't know why. It's very difficult for me. I have to do lots of repetition. I have to know exactly what's happening in the scene so I can visualize how I'm going to do it. It really helps me to block it out. Anyway, the reason I bring that up, and I'll try, if I think about it, I'll put it into my Facebook post or something about how you can take Lee Perkins' class if you're interested in that. Because to me, you see all sorts of classes about stuff. And for me, learning lines, that's a big one. So I'll put that in if I think about it. When we were doing the Uncivil War, America Divided, we were 2 weeks out from shooting, and we lost our main 2 actors. We still had Musetta Vander, who's a fantastic actress, great name, probably could sell something on her own. But with indie films today, you really just need as much star power as possible if you're going to hope to get any kind of return on your money. So we had Musetta, but I felt like we still needed more. So, and we needed another big role, because Musetta's role was a good size, strong supporting role, but it wasn't the lead. So we needed more. And I was really under the gun. And unfortunately, I turned to Ian Stevens, was my producer at the time, and he was the producer that we picked up at the time, and he was producing through Cap Studios. And he said, and I said, it's all hands on deck. We've got to find someone to play the lead character. Well, Ian did an amazing job. He reached out to a couple of friends. One of them that he reached out to was Daniel Roebuck, and we were able to get him on kind of at the last second. We ended up pushing the film out 1 week, but we got Danny on there so fast, kind of at the tail end of everything. I remember Danny came to the set and we did one read through, and he did not really have his lines down until he got to set. I mean, he was coming right off of the set someplace else, coming to our set, but he was a professional. He said, give me the script. We walked out there. We started running through it. Boom, we run through it once. He's kind of looking at the script. We run through it a second time. He kind of, what was that line? He looks at it again. Third time, he's getting it down. Fourth time, he's like, all right, let's shoot. I can't do that. I wish I could do that. That's amazing that people can do that. I find that to be an incredible skill. And I'm sure it's something that he has picked up from years and years and years of doing it. And so this is kind of funny, because I told Danny, I said, feel free to ad lib. Well, Danny took that and ran with it. I don't know if he said a single word that was written in the script. I told Musetta the same thing. Musetta hit every single word exactly as it was written.
And it's funny you say that because one of my all-time favorite movies is 90% ad-lib, MASH.
Oh, okay.
The war movie MASH. Half to more than half of that movie is ad-lib by the actors in the film.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are like that. It really depends on the crew and the director and how they like to do it. So, all right, I have really gone long in that segment. I do want to get to some set terminology.
But before you do that, though, I will say this much. That's how you know you're going long in a segment, if you have plenty of material to talk about.
Yep. So
it's good radio.
Set terminology here. Don't look like a fool when you get on set. Lots of jargon in this industry. Let's talk about a little bit the 7 stages of the filmmaking process. So you will probably always be in some stage. Right now, I personally am in 2 stages. I am right now in distribution for my movie, The Uncivil War, America Divided. I'm trying to get that distributed right now. And I'm also in development because I'm trying to work on my next film. I want to be able to produce in 2024, actually 2 films. I want to produce a full-length feature again, and then I'd like to do a proof of concept for one that I would like to shoot in 2025. Because I probably won't have the money in 2024 for the other one. So, but the first one's going to be kind of like a fun Hallmark, Lifetime type movie. And then the next one will be a full-length feature, hopefully for the theaters, streaming, something like that. So let's talk about development. Development is you're working on getting things going here. You're still early in the stages. You've got a script that you're working on. You're trying to decide if it's affordable. That's a big one that has caused me to do the proof of concept for the one movie and to actually film the other one, because I was originally going to film the proof of concept one and then do the second one down the road. Instead, I'm going to shoot the other one now and just do the proof of concept for this one. So because I looked at the budget, and the budget for the big one is going to probably be in the $750,000 to $1.5 million range, and I'm not going to have the money for that. But I can get the other one done, which could be in the $350,000 to $500,000 range. So that's the development phase. Then from there, you're going to go to pre-production, right? This is where things are really starting to gin up. You're getting excited. Now you're hiring people. You're getting contracts out to people. You've got to find locations. You got to do rehearsals. You have to get people on calls for a Zoom call, for a table read. You're doing storyboards to visualize. Right now we're getting storyboards for Race Against Time, which we're shooting in a week and a half. And Luke Reether is doing an amazing job of putting together the storyboards for that. And he's showing each scene, where is the lighting going to be? Where are the characters going to be? How is everybody going to be moving and blocking inside those? The pre-production is where you start to see it come alive and you see the vision start to happen. And then you get to the third stage, production. Now, this can get sandwiched into principal photography. It happens all at once. You're going. You could be on different schedules. You could do 10 days straight. You could do 5 days on, 1 day off, 5 days on. But it involves creating the set so that when actors arrive on set, principal photography is ready to begin immediately. So then what is principal photography? Well, that's stage 4. That's when what people mostly think of. When is the film actually starting to roll? Almost all the cast and crew are engaged at this point. Everyone's on set. You're seated at the table. You're having dialogue. You're passing drinks around. Someone's shooting someone in the action film. Principal photography is what most people think of when a movie is shooting. Now, the other 3 parts to it, wrap, post-production, and distribution, we're going to talk about that next week. But they're all big parts of the movie. A lot of people only want to focus on getting on set. And for the actors, that's like the biggest part of it. But a really, really good actor is going to focus on some of those other areas, like the pre-production. I mean, you're not going to have anything to do with the script development or anything like that, but pre-production, you're going to want to be focused on that because that's where you're getting hired, but that's also where you're doing rehearsals. Maybe you get to see the storyboards. You've got to look at your contract. There's a lot going on for the actors before you get onto the actual stage and you're actually in principal photography. But we're going to go into wrap, post-production, and distribution next week. Those are big things as well that we'll want to talk about. So those are the 7 stages of filmmaking process. All right, now getting back to how do you act on set when you're on set. Really important. Like earlier today, I was talking about Robert Patrick being on set. This is a huge actor, right? So how do you act around this guy? I mean, he's so good. He's such a fantastic actor. He's been in so many things. You're excited, right? You're like, man, I want to talk to this guy. I want to get a picture with him. Remember, number one, you're not the only person that wants a picture with this guy or girl, whoever the actor is, right? You're not the only one that wants to get up there and talk to them, but they've got a job to do. They are there to make an incredible movie. They don't have time to sign autographs, to stop and say hi to everyone. I'm not saying that they need to be a jerk and they need to be saying, you know, I am the great actor. I can't talk to you.
There's a time and a place for everything.
There's a time and a place. Exactly right. And most of these actors are fantastic people. Robert, I didn't ask for an autograph. I didn't ask I didn't try and sidle up to him and talk to him at all. Although actually I did before I realized who it was. Actually, I did start talking to him before I realized who he was because I love the role that he played in Terminator 2.
Right.
So I did actually talk to him. Nicest guy. And I keep saying that because I really have not met a big time actor yet that has been a jerk. None of them. Guys, girls, big names, smaller names. No one has been horrible. So treat them with some respect. They're going to give it right back to you. Don't fawn over them. Don't stick a phone in their face to get a picture. Be polite. Basically, just don't act like a teenage groupie, right?
Well, that's one thing my dad always taught me around athletes, because I grew up and I still am a huge sports fan, and I have a lot of autographs that I've gotten over the years from professional athletes, and I've gotten pictures with them. But my dad always taught me they're humans like everybody else. Don't go up and shove something in their face. Politely ask. If they're allowed to say no, it's just like, okay, enjoy the rest of your day and good luck.
Absolutely. Yep.
And actors are the exact same way as athletes, you, me, and everybody else.
Yes. So, tomorrow, will I get a picture with him? Because tomorrow's my last day on set. Yeah. He's going to be on set for a while, but my last day on set. Am I going to get a picture with him?
Maybe.
Am I dying to get a picture with him?
Yeah.
As much as I love the guy? Not really.
Oh.
If I can get a picture with him,
cool.
That's awesome.
If not, you're not going to lose sleep over it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to get a picture with a famous actor, right? Everybody gets a little bit starstruck, but if I get one, I get one. If not, move on, folks. And again, you're going to have lots of other options to meet big name people. Kevin Sorbo is in Florida all the time. Dean Cain, Jim Fitzpatrick, David Faustino, Corin Nemec. Obviously, I already mentioned Lucetta Vander and Danny Roebuck.
John Travolta.
There are so many people, okay? Now, the other thing, if you are lucky enough to get a picture, it works out, you're polite, you ask, or they say, do you want to get a picture? Because I find a lot of the times, if you're talking with them, a lot of times they'll say, hey, do you guys want to get a picture? Because everybody loves getting a picture, when it's on their terms.
Yeah.
Right. So I find a lot of the times these guys will say, hey, you want to get a picture? Sure. Yeah, that's great. Do not get too excited and start posting pictures. Don't post stuff, especially if people are in costume, if it's a murder mystery or something.
Spoilers.
And they've got blood, be very careful of the spoilers. wait 2 weeks until it's done filming. Usually then you can post all you want. On my set, I wanted people posting because I wanted the excitement about it. I wanted people to hear about my film, but everyone is different. Some people do not want it. Some people want it once the film has started filming or after it's done. So just be aware, ask first if you don't know, and then just follow the rules. Okay. I was saying that, there's lots of people. I actually met Sean Astin. I don't think I told this story.
Rudy. Yep.
Yes, Rudy. So I met Sean Astin in one of the films that was shooting here. And it was a untitled pet detective movie. I'm not sure if that one actually came out yet or not. But he was a great guy. He ended up walking by. There were 3 of us sitting there. We were background. And we're sitting there. Sean walks by. And he's going to keep walking past us. And all of a sudden he stops, he turns around, he walks back, and he sits down with us. And he says, "Hey, fellas, how's everybody doing?" And he starts talking to the guy to the right of me, to his right, excuse me. I'm sitting to the left of him, and there's a guy across the table from him. And he talks to the guy to the right. Sounds like they're best friends. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that's why I came over and sat down. He knows this guy really well. So I'm going to, again, I'm not going to jump in because they're buddies. So they're talking, and then the other guy across the table from Sean jumps in and says something. I didn't really have anything to say, so I didn't throw anything in. Sean eventually gets called away. They said, "Hey, we need you on set." So he goes to set, and he said, "Hey, everybody take care. Hey, nice to meet you, sir." And off he goes. So I looked to the guy that was talking to him, and I said, "Wow, that's pretty cool. You know Sean, huh?" He said, "Nope, just met him like 15 minutes ago. First time I've ever talked to him."
Nice.
How cool is that, right?
Right.
So, but again, had I had something to say to Sean, I would have jumped into the conversation. I didn't have anything to say, so I'm not going to force myself in there just to say I spoke to Sean. I was sitting at the table with him, so it's all good. So follow the protocol. You'll be much happier if you do. People will love having you on their set. All right, know what food to eat. This is huge. I know this sounds goofy.
I was going to say, there's a protocol for that.
There is. Oh, there's lots of protocol. Lots of protocol.
Okay.
And it sounds goofy, but it's important because if you're eating the wrong stuff, you're taking food away from other actors. Okay. Or you are messing up the time frame. So there's something called crafty. Crafty is the little snacks. Like on the movie today, they had trail mix out there. They had some candy bars, like not candy bars, like power bars, like the sweetened, the sea salt chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Some kind bars. That's what they
There you go.
Some healthy stuff. They had some chips, some unhealthy stuff. They had some sodas, some waters.
But you're not gonna see like burgers or steaks or stuff like that.
Oh, well, no. This is just crafty. This is just snacks. Okay. So this is when you're between takes. You just need something just to grab a quick snack. All right.
Okay.
So you can grab what they call crafty, but you have to make sure that you're grabbing the right crafty because there may be crafty that is specifically for cast, not for background.
Okay.
So there's a difference. If you are in the principal cast, and you'll know if you're in principal cast because you've got lines, usually you're mic'd up, usually you're held separate from the background actors, the extras. So just make sure you're not grabbing crafty that is set aside for the main actors because they may have requested something special. And if you grab all the peanuts that they requested, all the cashews that they specifically wanted, you're going to get yelled at because that's not your food. And they usually try and label everything so everybody knows, right? And again, there's probably drinks that are specifically for cast, and then there's drinks that are for background.
Right.
And usually they keep it close to you so you know, okay, we're being held over in this room as background. Cast have their own trailer or tent or a different room that they're in. A lot of the times you won't even see the main cast until you get out on set and then you're all together on set. Like today, we could see the cast walking out to their trailer back and forth. Otherwise, we're in our own separate area. And that's just how it is. You know, when you move up to cast, then you're held in the special area and you may get special, better food at that time. Just make sure you know which one to eat and drink. And if you don't know, ask. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy, because it's better that you ask somebody than you make a mistake and you grab the wrong thing. This is really interesting. So you talk about there are rules with food. Oh, yes, there's food. So lunch is always served 6 hours from call time. So if call time is 6:30 a.m., then lunch is going to be at 12:30 p.m., right?
Right.
Now, what happens if call time is 1 p.m.?
You're going to be eating dinner at 7. You're going to be eating, air quotes, lunch at 7 p.m.
Lunch. I love when they call lunch at 7 p.m., but that is
Dinner
lunch.
time.
Yes.
Dinner
So,
time. Well, let us rephrase that. That's dinner time for the rest of the world.
for the rest of the world, but for on set, and they will say, we're breaking for lunch at 7 p.m. They won't say we're breaking for dinner. They will say lunch is at 7 because call time was at
1
whatever
o'clock.
time, 1 o'clock. Okay, so it's always 6 hours, and this is just a union type thing, right? You've got to match the hours the way you're supposed to match the hours. So sometimes they'll give you breakfast on set. Sometimes they won't. I always tell people, make sure if you're worried about being hungry on set, if you get cranky, if you don't have food, bring your own food. Do not show up on set without food. I bring a cooler with ices in it. If you have to leave it in your car and it gets hot, you better have a really good isolated insulated cooler with the blue ice in there or whatever to keep it cold, and bring something. I bring power bars. I bring peanuts. I bring all sorts of stuff. And when there's no good crafty and there's no good lunch, if the lunch is something that, sometimes we're in Florida, sometimes the wife or the husband or the boyfriend or the girlfriend makes something at home and brings it to set, and you're looking at that going, I'm not eating that.
Yep. No, I get that all the
pull out
time.
my power bars.
Yep.
I said, no, I'm good. That's fine. And I eat my power bars all the time on set.
Yeah.
Because you don't want your stomach gurgling while you're on set, because that's going to be hurting the mics.
Yeah.
They will absolutely hear it. I've had my stomach gurgle on set before, and I'll see the sound guy's head pop up, and I'll say, yeah, that was me. Sorry. I knew somebody was, I'm hungry. Sorry. I'll get a power bar at the next break. So make sure that you are doing that. And then you have to be 6 hours again after lunch. They have to feed you. So there are actual meal penalties. If they're not feeding you at the proper time,
Really?
they're going to get penalized. Oh yeah.
I did not know that was penal codes for film distributors or filmmakers.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh.
Absolutely. And it is rigid. You do not mess with the call times. I have been on there where, even on my own set, Andrew Huff, the director, and Chris McKechnie are going crazy. They're screaming, we got to get this shot done. We got to get this shot done. We got to go. Lunch is in 15 minutes. Let's go. Set. Let's go. Are we ready? Okay, let's roll. And they're moving and you've got to be ready to go, because if you get down to that crunch time, you cannot push. Now, they do have something they call calling grace, which I haven't really experienced this too much, but you get the pre-lunch frenzy. Everyone's rushing around trying to get something because you don't want to have to miss that shot and then come back from lunch and just do that one shot. You'd rather get that shot done, because then you can move all the lights and everything right after you come back from lunch, instead of waiting, shooting that last shot again, and then moving all of the lights. That's a lot of time taken out. So everybody starts rushing. We got to get this last shot. Let's get this shot done. So they can call grace. That gives you an extra 12 minutes. And I'm telling you right now, they're very serious about 12 minutes. If you call grace and you go 13 minutes, you're getting dinged. You will get dinged by the food police. So do not mess around with that. The interesting thing about calling grace is you actually need cast and crew approval. Now, it's cool in today's modern world. They have ways that they go about that now, where they will do that when you first show up on set. They have electronic stuff where you can just agree to it right there and say, yeah, if you need to call grace, I'm good with it. So if you're trying to get that last shot in and they call grace, you got an extra 12 minutes to get that shot done. Be ready to get that done. When you get on set, The number one rule, there's two number one rules. Be on time, which means be early, and know your lines. Know your lines. Now, I was talking earlier about the professionals that have been doing it for 30 and 40 years. You are probably not a Daniel Roebuck or Musetta Vander or Robert. You're not one of these guys. Know your lines. Do not expect to get online and on set and ad lib. Know what you're talking about, what you get there. Know your blocking. This one's more difficult. Knowing your blocking, this is really tough because, and I kind of talked about this 2 weeks ago, you kind of visualize, you're looking at a script, and when you look at your script and you're reading it and it says the guy goes and grabs a gun off of a table. Well, okay, everybody visualizes that something different. Maybe you're thinking it's a regular table like this, but it turns out it's a really high table and the guy is really short. And so it's a comedic thing where he goes and he's trying to grab the gun, but he can't see it. That changes how you say your lines. And it's really difficult to really map something out for blocking if you don't know what the blocking is. That's what the table read is for. That's where you try and if you can do rehearsals prior to getting on set, that's fantastic. But a lot of times you can't do that. So it's difficult. Try to read the script as best you can. If you can't figure it out in the table read, reach out to whoever you can, the first AD, the director, whoever you feel you have the best rapport with that can give you these answers, and try and figure out, hey, in this scene, what kind of a table am I looking at here? Is it a big table, a short table, a long table? What's my character doing? So you have some idea, so you can kind of visualize it and you can be prepared for different takes. Matt, were you going to say something?
Yeah, to that point about knowing your lines, I've heard this story before. When Bela Lugosi first did Dracula, when it came out with the original Dracula, everybody knows most know that Bela Lugosi was Dracula in the original film. He was so good and he was so prepared for the role that he not only memorized his lines, but he knew the lines directly ahead of his so he can get his timing right to know when to talk.
Now, the only thing with that is be careful, because I actually got in trouble for that on my set with my director, who said he had the same issue when he was acting. I did know the other person's lines, but it turns out that I would actually mouth their lines as I was waiting for them to say them to me. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. And I actually have to try and break myself of that habit, because I'd say my line and then I'm mouthing it. And every now and then he'd stop it and he'd come over to me and he'd say, hey, you're doing it again. So,
in some regards it's a good thing, but in some regards it's not.
That's right. So, just, it's good to know, like you said, it's great to know timing. Practice different timing too, because you never know when the other actor is going to say things in a different way, and that might throw you off. Like when Bronson Taylor got onto set with me, I actually went and met him the night before when we were going to be on set, the day before we were going to be on set the first time. And I said, hey, will you record your lines for me in my app that I used to practice with? And I had been used to hearing my voice doing it and my tempo. When I got him to say the lines into it and I practiced with it, thank the Lord I did that. It was so different to practice with his voice doing it, and it made a huge difference. I think I really would have been in a bad way had I not had that happen beforehand. So I was thrilled that ended up working out. So, like I said, arrive early. You're going to sit around. Don't let that lull you. If you get on set, like this morning, I got on set at 6:30 a.m. We got pulled on, I got to holding at 6:30. We got pulled on to set at around 7:30 or 8. And you're like, oh, that's not too long. Yeah, well, yesterday when I got on set at 9 a.m. was my call time. I never got on set. So a lot of people say, oh, well, you get there at 9 and sometimes you're not on set for another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It's not a big deal if you're late. Do not do that. If your call time is 9 a.m., try to be there at 8:30 or 8:45. What if you can't find the place? A lot of the times you have to park someplace and they shuttle you to set. So a lot of the times you get there. In fact, Jason Henney was telling me a story. I think it was Jason or Zach maybe was telling us that it was a Disney shoot. He got to set and he was on time, but then he needed to get shuttled to where set was. You know how Disney World is huge. And he said, I was there on time, but because I wasn't on set, he said, I wasn't going to be on set or into call for another 15 minutes. He said, I got a text. Thanks for showing up. Don't worry, go home. That was late. He was late. He was not early. He was late. Nothing worse than driving all the way to a set. I don't care if you're driving to LA for a set or you're driving 15 minutes away. Nothing worse than setting aside a day to be on set. You're going to get to make great networking connections. You're going to get to be in a movie, in a commercial. You're going to get paid. And then you show up 15 minutes late and they cut you.
Yep.
Nothing worse. Trust me.
And when I started working here, the higher ups here said, if you're supposed to be here at like noon, get here by like 5:02. Get here by like 10 to 12. Get here early enough or leave your house early enough to factor in like traffic and all that other stuff.
That's right. All right. Still a lot more to get through today, but I'm running out of time. So we're just going to jump to our local movie spotlight for the week. And this is going to be my all-time favorite. Matt's already smiling because he knows which one it is.
Yes, I do.
It is The Uncivil War, America Divided. Yeah. And if you don't know, I am excited because
it's your movie.
It is my movie. Yes. And I don't know. I haven't talked about it until now, but I'm excited about it right now because we are currently looking for distribution for this right now. And wow, what a pain in the rear end distribution is. And that's why the strike is going on right now, which I might talk about at the end if I have time, because they are very, very close to getting an agreement, which is very exciting because a lot of people suffering right now. But we are looking for distribution, and it's so tough. Everybody, I'm talking to people all the time. What do I do about distribution? What do I do? And everyone says, you're just not going to make your money back. It's so hard to make your money back. Now, the funny thing is, when I first started saying I should make a movie, I should do this, everyone said, oh, it's great. You're going to make, you can make your money back. You're going to do great. Distribution is easy. Now, of course, that I'm at distribution, everyone's like, oh, yeah, if you make your money back, you're so lucky. So thank you for that, everyone. So I am currently looking for it. The story of the Uncivil War, America Divided, is about Tom and Byron, two best friends, one white, one black, been best friends for 30, 40 years, never talked about politics, never discussed it before. Boom, 2020 hits. COVID, the lockdowns, George Floyd, the whole thing, everything happens. All of a sudden, Tom and Byron start talking politics. Never good for anyone. We all went through this. Yeah, I mean, we all went through it in 2020. Everyone started talking politics. I don't know if anybody didn't talk about politics in 2020. And it was weird because you had people who had never discussed politics before, all of a sudden jumping into it. And whether it was politics or COVID or Floyd or all of those together, everyone was talking about it. And that's kind of what the movie follows is Tom and Byron start talking about it, and they start to kind of realize that they don't have the same beliefs. And now their friends and family start getting involved. And it's what we all felt, because when I tell people about this movie, I always get the same response from everyone. Oh, my best friend in college. Yeah. We haven't spoken since COVID. Oh, I've got an aunt. We don't talk anymore. Oh, I've got so-and-so. Everybody.
I've got a cousin, same thing.
There you go. Everybody I talk to, I almost never tell someone about my story, and they say, I didn't have any problem. I didn't lose anyone. Everybody, and I'm not talking lose someone mortality-wise to COVID. I am talking about people lost friends because they couldn't speak to each other anymore. And that's what this movie is about. And by the end, you're fighting for Tom and Byron. Will they stay friends? Tom's love life goes through the ringer. He gets divorced at the beginning of the movie, and he's going through trials and tribulations about it. So we've got a trailer for it. Go ahead, let's play the trailer real quick.
Hard to believe we're going to be single again, huh?
Yeah. Sure, it'll be a different scene than when we were in our 20s, that's for sure. Newly divorced?
Yeah. How did you know that?
So this is how it goes these days, and I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you want to work tomorrow?
Tom.
Beth.
COVID, Floyd, riots. Is there anything else going on in the world right now?
Well, have you watched this Chauvin video they finally released? Dude, I've watched it like 50 times. They're going to string this guy up.
Tom, you don't know what it's like living as a black man. Look at me. What do you see? What would a cop see if he pulled me over?
A successful man who obeys the police?
A black man.
Why do they have to show that?
Oh, I know. It's awful, isn't it?
I mean, seriously, they should be ashamed of themselves. They're just trying to make the protesters look bad.
I don't know. What do you mean?
There was one little awkward moment when Floyd came up, but
Oh, come on.
hey, man, I changed the subject as soon as I could, but
what?
is it bad news that we don't agree on politics?
We've been friends forever. You and I don't agree.
I'm sorry, are you saying because I'm white, I don't care about black people dying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Actually, I do care. I just don't care about drug-crazed lunatics.
Oh, so I'm assuming you're talking about George Floyd.
Yeah,
He wasn't a drug-crazed lunatic.
Screw you, man. I don't need
Screw
this.
you! Where are you going?
I'm going home.
Good! Leave! I thought I was going to have to put my big black foot in your wrist one. Help! Help!
Done Civil War, America Divided. And you got to see the actual trailer because it's even more incredible, to see it.
I did. That was. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, holy shnikes.
Yeah, it's intense. It really is intense, and fantastic cast and crew. You heard Daniel Roebuck, Musetta Vander, Bronson Taylor in there, Musetta Vander in Wild Wild West, Mortal Kombat. She was Sindel in Mortal Kombat. Looked gorgeous.
I thought she looked familiar.
Yeah. She looked gorgeous in that. She still gets people all the time asking her about that. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Voyager, Stargate. I never was really into those, but a lot of people loved her in those. Daniel Roebuck, U.S. Marshals, The Fugitive, Matlock, The Munsters, Getting Grace, about a teenage girl dying of cancer. His movies, man, they are with a purpose. They're fantastic movies. That's one of his movies that he produced. Bronson and Johnny Jones, The Legend of Johnny Jones from Angry Troll Studios. That'll be coming out soon. And the crew, I got to mention the crew. Andrew Huff, Chris McKechnie, Cookie Reyes, Artie Glacken, Ian Stevens, so many great people on the back end. The crew never get mentioned. I wish I could mention all of them. It's going to be coming out soon. Check out the trailer. Share it. I got to get distribution for that because I really want that to be in the theaters. I want you all to get a chance to see it. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it.
WTAN, Clearwater.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
Listen.
Former President Trump found guilty in New York.